For much of the 20th century, the cultural blueprint for marriage was clear: a sacred emotional bond between two people committed to a lifelong partnership. Today, a different consensus is gaining traction across the digital landscape. In both women's dating podcasts and men's advocacy circles, voices are emerging that describe this same arrangement not as a romantic ideal, but as a thinly veiled exchange of sexual services for financial security. To understand this shift, we must look past sentimentality and analyze modern love strictly by the numbers, treating connection as a volatile financial market. This is the era of transactionalism. In this market, time and intimacy are the currency used to secure a specific lifestyle or a financial subsidy. When the emotional layer is stripped back, courtship begins to look less like a shared journey and more like a cold, calculated ledger, where every move is weighed against its potential payout. Casual dating now functions much like a high-stakes gig economy. It is a market driven by social media clout and the visible markers of wealth, where participants often view each other as temporary service providers. For many men, the cost of entry has risen sharply. There is a growing expectation to provide immediate financial support, covering everything from hair and nail appointments to household bills, as a prerequisite for even a first date. This logic scales up into flew-out culture. Here, high-net-worth men treat companionship as a leased asset, providing luxury travel and elite experiences in a direct trade for short-term intimacy. This tiered business model is often normalized by the ultra-wealthy. In high-profile social circles like those surrounding Sean Combs, the practice of flying out multiple women for events is a standard operational procedure, a way to maintain a curated environment through sheer financial force. This transactional approach is no longer confined to the elite. Modern influencers like Glorilla often present these financial exchanges as a standard part of the lifestyle, broadcasting a message to young audiences that access to oneself is a commodity to be sold. In this system, individuals on both sides are incentivized to treat one another as products. The man is reduced to a source of liquidity, while the woman becomes a temporary depreciating asset. If casual dating is the gig economy, marriage is the institutional merger. However, many men's advocacy groups are now warning that this contract is less a romantic milestone and more a high-risk business partnership. Under current legal frameworks, the marriage contract grants one partner significant claims over the other's property, future labor, and even personal services, often regardless of who actually earned the assets. When this merger fails, the higher earner's portfolio is often partitioned. The state mandates an immediate 50% split in assets, frequently followed by permanent alimony, an indefinite financial transfer that persists long after the relationship has dissolved. This high cost has led to a cynical rebranding of the term in popular culture, where alimony is described as the process of handing over all the money. High-profile cases have illustrated the depth of this liability. Robin Williams, for example, spoke openly about the financial strain of his multiple divorces, which forced him into a grueling work schedule late in his life just to keep up with his obligations to the divorce industry. For those with significant assets, the legal structure of marriage can transform a romantic commitment into a life sentence of financial servitude. This marketplace is currently facing a crisis of supply and demand. The financial expectations many women hold for their partners are increasingly out of sync with the economic reality of the modern male population. As women continue to outpace men in higher education and entry-level earnings, the pool of men who earn significantly more than their partners has narrowed. This chart shows the rising educational gap, creating a shrinking supply of high-earning male candidates at the top of the market. The result is a demographic mismatch. Many women find themselves choosing partners they view as economic liabilities, while a large segment of average-earning men find themselves essentially priced out of the dating pool. This friction creates a market where both sexes feel the other is failing to meet their basic requirements, leading to a widespread sense of dissatisfaction. The byproduct of this era is a measurable decline in marriage rates, record levels of single-person households, and a rising tide of isolation between the sexes. When a person is measured strictly by their financial utility, the capacity for genuine emotional connection begins to atrophy. You cannot build a sacred bond on a foundation of shifting market values. When relationships are viewed exclusively through a ledger of costs and benefits, The ultimate result is emotional bankruptcy. Reversing this trend requires a rejection of the transactional scorecard. Real partnership only becomes possible when we stop looking for a payout and start looking for a person.